And at this time, it's number 2 on your agenda. Um, is, Tina, is there anyone asking for public access to the board tonight? No one. All right. Thank you. We come to the consent agenda. Motion, please, to approve the consent agenda. John and Leslie, any discussion? The consent agenda goes from page 1 all the way through page 4. Any comments, discussion? All in favor of approving the consent agenda? Motion is carried. We'll put the green sheet in here now after the consent agenda. A motion, please, to approve the additions to the consent agenda, which include approving the athletic code of conduct and to appoint a long-term substitute teacher. Motion, please. Linda and Tina. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. We come to the time of board member requests, comments, or discussion. Does anyone have anything they would like to bring up? John?
I'd like to ask about the cell phone policy. So, Mr. Pullen, could you kind of elaborate on when students can use them? What do they do with them? When sort of the functionality of what is cell phone to North Rose-Wolcott?
Sure, thank you. So, I just remind the board and the public, it's not just cell phones. The cell phone is the one that's catching the most attention. It really is internet-enabled devices. So it's a cell phone. It could be your smartwatch. It could be a tablet. Could be anything that can transmit messages throughout the day that's personally owned. Our policy actually was developed by a small committee of people and with support from council. So we actually had some very positive feedback from our student representatives. Our district practice is going to be that cell phones will be kept secure in student lockers from the start of the academic day until the end of the academic day. And that would include those other devices that I referenced as well. So essentially for a high school student, from the time they walk in the morning, they get themselves situated for first period, from first period through the end of the academic day at 2:25, they should be away. And then if they're working with a teacher in advisory or an extra activity period, the phone should be away at that point in time as well. And then theoretically, they would be able to bring them out right around 3:10 when that activity period's over. So our hope is that through town hall meetings, grades 5 through 12, when the administrators work with the student population in the small intimate settings, they will go through the code of conduct, they will go through the expectations, they will do a Q&A, and then I believe what we've agreed upon, and Megan, please correct me if this is not accurate, I believe that at the high school, I know 9 through 12, they're going to do a 2-week grace period, and I believe that's the case for middle school as well. So they're going to do a 2-week grace period where they bring the students in and they start to, enforce the rules, but they're not enforcing consequences because the state's been very clear about you cannot target a student with consequences specific to cell phones, and that you have to show a progression. Really what they're basically saying is you can't suspend a student because of a cell phone violation. They did not say you can't suspend a student for insubordination, though. So that's really going to be the key. And I think that's why our district has chosen the 2-week grace period to really start corralling those behaviors over the first 9 academic days when they come back in. Because it is going to be new and it is going to be a challenge. But if they utilize the approach the way it should, we do feel like it'll minimize the amount of distractions that take place during the day. And our hope is also that our our staff monitor those expectations and those behaviors and follow suit as best they can.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? Leslie?
Just as a comment to go along with this, I have heard some other districts have had a policy in place prior to the state mandate, and there was mostly positive feedback from those districts about how it went and their students' behavior and cooperating. So I have every faith that our students aren't going to be belligerently pulling out cell phones all day long. I think once they get the hang of it, they'll know. We've got good students, so.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and thank you for that. I think really what we've noticed is the number of issues related to cell phone devices or internet-enabled devices has been dwindling over the last couple of years. My goal, and I've said this before publicly, would be to minimize social media during the academic hours, period, because I think that, you're combating the distractibility, but also some of the way that cyber stuff occurs is through social media. So we're looking forward to it. And again, our students had a say in our policy.
Anyone else? Last week was a busy week here at the district, or this week.
Yep.
A lot going on, yes, with new teachers, staff coming back. Thanking the 12-month employees for the wonderful work they do. Is there anything you'd like to say about the preschool events?
Sure. Well, I would say thank you to the Board of Education as well. So we mentioned to the staff, in July it started my 6th year with the district, and I think we're making the necessary gains both academically and with respect to our overall improvement, whether it's the physical plant, the number of offerings that we have, just the overall culture and climate. So I want to say thank you to all of you for your continued support. And then, just to reiterate, last week we had a very good new teacher orientation. There were 3 days of great activities where, under Megan's direction, we had a lot of staff members coming back and teaching our new teacher orientation. And I think that really speaks volumes when their colleagues are willing to come in and teach about some of our North Rose-Wolcott practices. A point of pride, Bill Pinkerton, our Director of Transportation, drove our new staff around, and there were several stops amongst our community. It's one thing to do a tour, but it's another thing to do a tour with stops and get educated on our community. I think that's gone remarkably well over the last several years. And we have a few elementary teachers that run that portion of it. And then we did do a cookout and a picnic on Monday to thank our 12-month employees. So our clerks, our maintenance, clerical staff, secretaries, our cleaners, just a real great group of people who do a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure that we open up every day. So it's wonderful to have a group of dedicated people like that. And then yesterday, the rest of the staff came back, and it really was phenomenal. Our administrators smiling ear to ear, busy, right? Busy the last couple weeks, but we did open house and meet and greets in all 3 buildings last night. We had community partners. So I think that there are a lot of good things happening, and it really set our year up for a lot of success because we put a lot of time and energy into planning over the summer. And I think that's the one piece that people miss, is that when our students leave us in June, the work starts immediately for planning for the next school years. And the 12-month people and administrators are really, doing an exceptional job of preparing us. And I think our campus looks great. I think our year's set up for a lot of success due to the people's hard work. So very, very much looking forward to Tuesday when our students return.
Well, thank you, Mr. Pullen, and the board certainly appreciates you and all you do and your leadership, because we know that it's because of your expectation and your personality, that you know people and appreciate people, and they know you do, and that means an awful lot. And it's good to see our district, people in our district, knowing they're appreciated. I think anytime people know they're appreciated, they strive to do their best. And so thank you.
Thank you.
That was all good news. Is there any other good news that anyone wants to put forth?
Just one little thing, to kind of echo, the open house did go really well. My family enjoyed. We went to 2 different buildings for your open house. Got ice cream at both spots, so that was, plus. My kids enjoyed that. And also, I do really appreciate what the schools are doing in sending out packets ahead of time to families. It has code of conducts in there. It has all sorts of information. So the papers come home to mom and dad before school starts, so it doesn't get lost in the backpack prior to even coming home. So I think I appreciate what the administrators are doing to make sure the communication happens before the beginning of the school year. I think that's a big thing. So it's been good.
Anyone else? Then I will entertain a motion, please, to adjourn. Tina and John, any discussion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you and good night, everyone.